Kelly is a Sydney-based project manager and actor. This is her first slam poem, which was inspired by the attack on two Asian women in Melbourne last year. Her work is commissioned by Diversity Arts Australia for the I'm Not a Virus project. Please warmly welcome Kelly.
Thank you for that lovely intro, Ben. I wrote it myself. So thank you to each and every one of you for being here today. Thank you to the Asian Australian Alliance, COSICOM, and member for Newtown, Denny Leong, for supporting this event. Just for a bit of context, I wrote this spoken word poem in January of this year. Two of my Asian sisters were beaten, dragged by their hair, and kicked in the face in Melbourne CBD by a white woman, because she made the erroneous correlation between a virus and its country of origin. When I saw that on the news, I was mad as a busted up fire hydrant spewing 100 degrees Celsius of disbelief. Tell me, how can you stamp a boot on someone's neck when they are simply enjoying their solitude? I took up self-defense classes after that incident. Look, I don't want to harm another person, but I now need to confront the mentality of another person wishing to break me and people who look like me. Well, I have been blessed to hail from Sydney Southwest. I've hitched a ride so many times on the Junkie Express. Used syringes were my playground, so who do you think are you messing with for? And now I wish that I was the one who crossed the street with that woman. I'll gladly show her what a real Australian backhand looks like. When did immigrant become such a dirty thing to be? When did my golden skin become synonymous with spreading disease? Corona racism makes me feel like I'm having a bad trip and an anxiety attack at the same time. Mum, Dad, don't worry, I haven't a clue what the experience of taking acid and getting high is like, but I assume it's not unlike the time you both jumped into the ocean after 1975. If doctors examine my grandma's DNA, they will find poetry in her blood. It is made up of 1 part oppression, 2 parts resilience, a wake of adversity and a dash of sass. Persecution picked a fight with my grandma across the 2 countries she landed upon, and let's just say she kicked its ass and won. She KO'd that bitch twice and won. I asked her recently, what do you do when your race is a liability? She cut herself open for me to see that beneath her skin is muscle and circuitry. She showed me how to take trauma and struggle into my very core and condense it into an armor so tough that the sharpest verbal knives cannot penetrate. Because you want to know what to do when your race is a liability? She showed me how to cook away unproductive emotions like self-pity and regret, then serve it on a platter for powering yourself on. When your race is a liability, she taught me that ignorance has its branches everywhere you look that bear fruit. You had better harvest when ripe because it's just wasted hanging there to rot, so you may as well make some jam. If all the world's a stage, she taught me to take up the entire front row of the theater, because when you make yourself small, you allow the other person's space to grow bigger. She explained to me that any person with hate in their heart is a learner driver steering a 10-ton truck across their highway lives for the very first time, but is just scared to open their eyes. It just takes someone willing and brave enough to be their guide, and you will get into a multi-vehicle car crash. The difference between those who survive and those who die, and the difference between those who survive and move on and those who die is that the ones who make it turn their grief into a scrap metal yard of tomorrow will be better. I know this pandemic is wreaking havoc across the globe. I know that nothing will be the same, and there is nothing I can make artistic about over 3 million dead and counting. I know that attributing blame to someone's face is cathartic and catharsis is therapeutic, but it's not therapy. It's just like when you excise each metastasized lump of tumor, but neglect to stitch the wounds shut, so you're still suffering. It doesn't work. But despite all these assaults on my kind. Even if I did have a choice, I'd choose to be born with the very same hide, because inside each and every one of us anyway is a burning sun that loves the taste of being alive, just that some of us forget to let it shine. Remember, there is poetry singing in all of our veins, and that it's our job to turn the volume up if it's too quiet. Thank you so much.